She had the resume, the degrees, the experience, but after her third job interview in a row, she still didn't get the offer. One recruiter finally told her, "You just didn't seem confident. Something felt off." She didn't stumble. She spoke clearly. She made eye contact. So what was off? Turns out, she had been sitting like she was bracing for rejection, shoulders slightly hunched, arms crossed, chest pulled in. Not because she was nervous, but because that had quietly become her default posture every day. In Feng Shui, energy doesn't just flow through your home, it flows through you. And posture, how you sit, how you stand, how you sleep, is how that energy takes shape, like water in a glass or wind in a sail. Have you ever walked into a room and felt small, even when no one said a word? Ever looked in the mirror and thought, "Why do I look like I've already given up?" Welcome to Wisdom of Feng Shui, where we look at real-life stories through the lens of energy. If you've ever caught yourself slouching, curling up, or shrinking back, leave a comment below. Tell us, what posture do you find yourself in most often? You might be surprised what it says about your energy. Because this isn't just about fixing your back, it's about opening the flow of wealth, confidence, and presence. Let's start with what happens when you simply stand up straight. Some people don't speak a word, but when they walk into the room, everyone straightens up. And then there are others, sharp, talented, experienced, who somehow keep getting overlooked. It's not always about charisma. Sometimes it's posture. The body doesn't lie, it only reflects. In Feng Shui, how you stand is how your energy rises. A straight spine opens the Ren-Ding line, a vertical channel that connects Earth Qi with Heaven Qi. Shoulders aligned, chest open, neck relaxed. That's not just confidence, that's flow. Marianne used to lean forward when waiting in elevators, one foot out, head tilted down, shoulders pulled in, like she was bracing for something. No one really said hi. No one looked up. Her boss, Rita, didn't speak more. She just stood better, back straight, feet grounded, face soft, but focused. And people moved when she entered, not out of fear, but because her body said, "I'm not here to ask for space. I am the space." It's like a tree. A tall, rooted tree doesn't need to shout. It just holds the sky. But a bent tree catches less light, grows uneven, breaks in wind. You've seen people fold themselves small in waiting rooms or airport lines. Maybe you've done it too. According to the American Psychological Association, just 2 minutes of upright posture increases testosterone and lowers cortisol. Power goes up, stress goes down. The nervous system listens to your spine more than it listens to your thoughts. Even in silence, your body tells a story of whether you're ready, whether you belong, or whether you're trying to disappear. Try this tomorrow morning. Before you grab your phone or your coffee, just stand still. Feet hip-width apart, spine tall, shoulders soft, gaze forward. Do nothing else. Hold it for one full breath, then go on with your day. And if you're open to it, place 1 coin at your feet while you stand. Not for luck, but as an anchor. To ground the place where your energy begins to rise. You stand like a king, they treat you like one. And sometimes, the simple act of standing tall is the quietest way to rise again. But not all power stands tall. Some of it sits still. He had the sharpest ideas in the room, but every time Eric spoke, someone else jumped in first. He laughed it off, shrugged, took notes, but over time, he stopped raising his hand. What's strange is, it wasn't his ideas that got smaller, it was how he sat. Most people think power is something you say, but energy, real energy, is something you take space with. And when you sit curled in, arms folded, shoulders high, legs pulled back under the chair, you're not just shrinking your body, you're dimming your field. In Feng Shui, sitting posture isn't just about etiquette, it's about energy alignment. When your chest is open, elbows placed softly on the table, spine steady, legs grounded in 90-degree angles, Your chi moves in loops. It circulates. It stays. It holds the room. But when you fold in, your chi folds with you, and it leaks. Eric didn't notice when it started. Long meetings, small chairs, feeling like the youngest guy in the room. So he made himself smaller, to be polite, to be liked. And the irony? The smaller he sat, the more invisible he became. It's like trying to grow a tree inside a glass box. Even if the roots are strong, there's nowhere for the branches to stretch. Posture is that box. If you sit like you don't belong, the world agrees with you. A Stanford study found that people who adopt high-power poses for just 2 minutes, even while seated, feel significantly more confident and perform better in negotiations. Why? Because your internal chemistry follows the signals your body gives off. If you sit like you're defending yourself, your nervous system prepares for rejection. If you sit like you're already chosen, your voice comes out differently. Try this in your next meeting, or even when you're on a Zoom call. Plant your feet evenly, let your arms rest, not cross. Relax your jaw, then gently shift your weight forward by 1/2 inch, just enough to tell your body, I'm not hiding, I'm here. And if you're the kind of person who forgets, place a small stone or coin on your desk. Let it be a weight that holds your presence open. You don't need to speak louder, you just need to stop apologizing with your body. If that resonates with you, drop a comment. Tell us, when do you catch yourself shrinking, and what does it cost you? Because some energy rises when you stand, but other kinds awaken the moment you stop pulling away from the table. You can lose the room before you say a word, just by the way you fold into the chair. The more you shrink, the more invisible you become, and most people don't even realize they're doing it. Collapsed posture has nothing to do with laziness. It's a survival instinct. The body folds when it feels unsafe, unwelcome, or unseen, not because it's weak, but because it's trying to disappear, quietly. In Feng Shui, your body is a vessel for qi. When your chest collapses, your shoulders hunch, and your neck bows forward, the central flow between your heart and head breaks. It's like stepping on a hose. The energy doesn't stop existing. It just stops moving. Marianne used to sit that way in team reviews. She had the notes, the prep, the clarity. But her body told a different story. Shoulders slightly raised, spine caved in, arms wrapped tight across her chest. It looked like she was defending herself before anyone even spoke. And when people see defense, they push harder. It's like watching a flower curl up before the rain even comes. You don't question why it shrinks, but you also stop expecting it to bloom. The posture says it all. A 2017 study by the Health Psychology Journal found that participants who sat in a slouched position for just 3 minutes showed elevated cortisol levels and decreased memory recall. Collapsed sitting doesn't just feel draining, it alters your chemical state. When your body closes, your focus narrows, your mood dips, your energy withdraws. Most Americans spend up to 8 hours a day sitting, often hunched over laptops, slouched on couches, curled into car seats. And over time, that posture becomes a personality, not by nature, but by habit. If your body sits like you're unsure, your choices start to match. If your chest is closed, your voice will be too. And the more you collapse, the more your inner compass bends to the noise around you. So here's a quiet reframe. What if sitting tall wasn't about looking strong, but about staying open, even when you feel small? What if the chair isn't just a place to rest, but a test of whether your energy is holding or hiding? Some postures hold the room. Others hold your breath without you knowing. But the most powerful ones, they let you breathe deeper. And sometimes that starts not with your spine, but with your hands. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't cut anyone off. But the room stopped when she leaned back, crossed one ankle, and placed her hands softly on the table. It wasn't force, it was authority, without trying. The posture wasn't loud, but it was exact. Spine tall, shoulders balanced, jaw relaxed. Every part of her body said, I belong here. and not once did she apologize for it. In Feng Shui, feminine energy doesn't express itself through volume. It expresses through alignment, softness with structure, openness with stillness. When a woman sits in full vertical balance, hips grounded, spine steady, gaze open, she becomes a vessel, not just of presence, but of quiet command. Marianne saw it for the first time in a strategy meeting. A female executive, maybe in her late 40s, said almost nothing until the end. But when she did, people stopped mid-sentence. There was no bossy tone, no performative lean-in. There was just clarity. The secret wasn't in what she said. It was how she sat while listening. She didn't fold her arms. She didn't tilt her head too far sideways. She didn't fidget with her pen. She simply held her place. And the room treated her like someone who held weight. It's like a mountain, not moving, but unmistakably there. And every decision made in its shadow feels like it has to measure up. Many women, especially in Western cultures, are subtly conditioned to sit in ways that minimize space. Crossed legs, tilted posture, perched on chair edges. It's coded as polite, but often received as unsure. And over time, the posture of accommodation becomes a habit of self-erasure. According to Dr. Amy Cuddy's research at Harvard, expansive body posture not only influences how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. Testosterone rises, cortisol drops. You don't just appear more grounded, you become it. Try this. Next time you sit at a table, in a meeting, a coffee shop, or even at home, plant both feet. Let your hips sink into the seat. Stack your spine. Rest your hands gently on the surface in front of you. And instead of leaning in, hold still. Let the space lean toward you instead. If you've ever been told you're too quiet, or felt like you had to prove yourself with words, maybe try proving it with posture instead. You might find people start listening before you even speak. If this speaks to you, share a moment in the comments when you felt most in your power. No explanation needed, just write the moment. We'll feel the energy. Because posture doesn't just hold your body, it holds your history. And sometimes it's in the way we sit that we reclaim it. Some nights, though, power doesn't sit, it curls. And the way we sleep can either carry us or drain us. She had a high-paying job, a house with clean lines, a skincare routine that ran 8 steps deep. But every morning, she woke up already tired, with her body curled into itself like she'd spent the night bracing for bad news. It wasn't the day that drained her. It was how she survived the night. Most people think energy is something you refill while sleeping, but the truth is, energy doesn't just return on its own. It flows, or it doesn't, based on how your body allows it. In Feng Shui, sleep is not rest, it's realignment. And the posture you take in your most unconscious hours is often the one that reveals your deepest energetic block. Marianne met Gloria, an old friend turned wellness coach. After weeks of waking up groggy and irritable, they weren't talking about work or stress or hormones, just sleep. Gloria asked, "How do you usually lie in bed?" Marianne shrugged. "On my side, curled up, I think." And Gloria didn't flinch. She just said, "Then your energy's doing the same thing, curling inward, holding tight, refusing flow. It's like a garden hose bent at night. No one sees it. But by morning, the water pressure's gone, and what should have poured out? Trickles." Research from the National Sleep Foundation shows that people who sleep in a fetal position, especially in high-stress environments, often report higher levels of anxiety and muscle tension upon waking. It's not just physical. Your nervous system remembers the shape it sleeps in. Gloria offered something simple, not a ritual, not a crystal, just a pillow. Placed gently across the belly to encourage the chest to soften and the back to release. Not flat on the back, not rigid, just enough openness to tell the body, you're not under attack. It took Marianne 2 nights to notice the difference, not in dreams, but in how she walked into the kitchen the next day. If the body sleeps like it's hiding, the day begins on defense. But if the body sleeps with softness, the day meets you with less weight. And sometimes, softness isn't about the bed, it's about what happens the moment you see yourself again. The reflection, the mirror, the posture you don't pose for. Most people think they look in the mirror to check their face, but energy doesn't care what you're wearing. It shows up in how you stand when no one's watching. And sometimes, the scariest part of the morning is realizing your own reflection looks small. The mirror doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it doesn't exaggerate. It just reflects what your body already believes. In Feng Shui, mirrors are more than objects. They're energy amplifiers. They bounce back whatever is given to them. And if your posture leans low, slants sideways, or holds tension, the mirror magnifies it. Marianne never used to notice how she stood. But one morning, halfway through brushing her teeth, she caught a glimpse. Shoulders slightly hunched, hips tilted, one leg locked while the other leaned out. It wasn't bad, it was just uncommitted, and it hit her harder than any comment from her boss ever had. The mirror wasn't judging her, it was asking her, "Is this how you plan to carry yourself into the world today?" It's like a coat that doesn't quite fit. No matter how good the fabric is, if it droops, if it bunches, if it sags, you wear it differently. And so does your energy. Most people, especially in fast-paced urban life, don't check their posture in mirrors. They check teeth, hair, eyeliner, collars. But the spine, the shoulders, the way the feet root to the ground, that goes unseen and unfixed. But here's the quiet shift. If the mirror is a tool for vanity, it's shallow. If it's a tool for energy, it's sacred. According to behavioral psychologist Amy Morin, posture is one of the fastest ways to shift internal belief. Stand tall, even when you don't feel powerful, and your brain starts to believe the story your body is telling. It's not about faking, it's about choosing the version of you that holds. Marianne started a small habit. Each morning, after dressing, she would face the mirror and say nothing. Just stand. Feet planted, chin neutral. 3 breaths, long enough to feel her presence, not just check her appearance. It didn't make her louder, it made her steadier. And the more steady she became, the less approval she needed to feel valid. If you've ever caught your reflection and thought, "That's not how I want to show up," you're not alone. And the good news is, mirrors don't care about yesterday. They only reflect now. How you look at yourself becomes how the world looks at you. And once posture becomes presence, the body stops being something to correct. It becomes something to trust. But trust doesn't just live in mirrors or chairs or meeting rooms. It's built, quietly, in practice, in ritual, in how you move, even when no one's watching. Most people think confidence starts in the mind, but the body usually gets there first. You can't think your way into stability, not if your spine is curled, your shoulders cave, your breath stuck in the chest. And no affirmation in the world can override a posture that says, "I'm not ready." The truth is, no one wakes up with perfect energy. What makes the difference is whether your body knows how to return to it. Because posture isn't just a moment, it's a ritual of remembering. In Feng Shui, energy follows form, which means your life force doesn't just go where your thoughts go, it moves where your body allows. Each time you open your chest, lengthen your spine, settle your weight evenly, you're not just aligning bones, you're clearing the channels that carry power. Marianne never became a new person. She didn't quit her job or move to Bali. But what changed was rhythm. Every morning, 3 breaths in the mirror. Every meeting, feet flat, hands soft. Every evening, a pillow beneath the knees. Not for support, but for trust. It wasn't drastic, but it was consistent. And the consistency, over time, gave her something she hadn't felt in years. Access to herself, to her voice, to her place in the room. It's like a compass. You don't need to run north, you just need to point yourself there. And posture, repeated gently, not perfectly, is how we realign the needle. Neuroscientists now understand that even micro movements, like softening the jaw or lifting the crown of the head, begin signaling safety to the vagus nerve. And when the body feels safe, the mind opens. When the mind opens, decisions change, conversations change, so does the path you're walking. You can choose to let posture be random, a product of fatigue, emotion, or habit. Or you can choose to let posture be a signal, a quiet act of claiming space without noise. One leads to reaction, the other to return. Not return to the person you used to be, but return to the alignment you forgot you had. The part of you that always knew how to hold still without shrinking, how to stand without bracing, how to sit without folding, how to move without apology. And maybe, the next time someone asks where your confidence comes from, you won't need to explain. You'll just take a breath and let your body answer for you. Most people try to change their life by changing their thoughts, but sometimes the shift starts lower, in your spine, in your breath, in the quiet way you carry yourself between conversations. Because confidence isn't volume, it's alignment. And presence isn't charm. It's how you take shape in space when no one's validating you. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to fake energy you don't feel. You just need to stop folding where you once held firm. One breath, one sit, one stand at a time. If posture is the shape your energy takes, then maybe healing isn't about becoming someone else. It's about standing like yourself again. Your space speaks. Wisdom listens.